For years, I've been making my thumbnails for YouTube using free image editing software. And I know there's a bunch of them out there, but the templates are limited for free and I'm just not happy with the results. I have come up with my own style. It's what I use on my YouTube channels and I like it. And my viewers, I think, tend to like it too. So it's gotta be something that I can do consistently, right? Well, I set up my imaging software-ish to do this, but I found myself spending a lot of time masking things out. So in today's video, I'm going to show you my way of creating thumbnails using Davinci Resolve, a software that I've already paid for. I have the studio version, so we are going to use a little bit of studio only stuff, but there are free workarounds. Anyway, let's dive into Davinci Resolve and let me show you what we're working with. Here we have a new project. Yes, good times. We want to first click on this icon here and click Display Stack Timelines. That'll be important in a minute. And then we need to create our timelines. Now, I'm using Davinci Resolve to do both thumbnails and channel banners for my YouTube channels. So there are different things you can do depending on the outcome that you're looking for. Vague, I know. Let me explain. So we're going to right-click in Master, choose Timelines, Create New Timeline. I'm going to give it a name. This is very important here, right? It's TL Thumbnails, and I'm going to uncheck Use Project Settings. I'm going to go over to Format, and my default is a custom resolution that matches my GoPros, but I'm going to scroll down to 1920 by 1080, which is good for YouTube. If you're creating YouTube thumbnails, they have a maximum image size of 2 megabytes, so you don't want to go over that. This will help with that. So now we've got that set up. We're going to click Create. And then we're going to right click and do another timeline. And this one is going to be called Banners. So now Resolve has opened up both the timelines here. This is why we did the stacked thing earlier. And the first thing we need is some images. So I'm going to go grab an image and I'm going to drag it in. And then I want to get some footage because I'm going to show you how I'm going to do something trickery here in a minute because there's several ways to do this as usual. But the first one, we're going to do an image. And we're going to bring our playhead to the start of it, and that's great, right? Well, we can come down here to scaling and say crop, fit, or fill. I'm going to do fill, so it zooms in a little bit. And let's say this video was about this mansion. We need text to show the viewer or potential viewer. So we're going to come over to Effects. We're going to click on Titles. And right here at the top, it says Titles. We don't want text. We want Text Plus. We want our text to be big, bold, and in your face. So let's go in and change our text. We want to call it The Mansion, right? That's what this video is about, but we want a bolder font. I prefer to use Impact. So I'm going to open the drop down, press I, and it'll go right to Impact. It's the first one in the list. And that's pretty cool. We can play with the size now if we want. And then we have lots of settings up here. We're going to go and concern ourselves with shading. You get some custom ones towards the end, but the first three is what we're worried about. We have white solid fill, and if you click here, you can rename it, but I don't bother. But under type, we have solid image and gradient. So I'm going to click gradient, and we have black and white. So I'm going to click on black, and I want to select a blue. Well, that's a little too dark. We're going to move it over a little bit, and then bring this up, and that gives us the blue that we want. We're going to click OK. And now is when you can play with these guys to get your gradient just the way you want. And we want it to go from this blue to white, and it's vertical. And we want the white to be about a third of the way down. So there, that's pretty well set up. We like that gradient. Let's move up to number 2, red outline. We click Enabled to enable it, and it gives us a red outline. Let's drag the thickness. So click and drag the thickness over. That's cool. You can also type in a bigger number. So we're going to change that to 0.15. That's good. We don't want red, so we'll click on the color again. We want black. And we do this because we want our text to really stand out from the image. Something else that'll help it stand out is a drop shadow. So let's add that next. So we're going to scroll back up to the top. We're going to click on our number 3 element, and it's black shadow. We'll click Enabled, and then it could be good for the way you want it. Now, if I use my mouse wheel and zoom in, it's not really visible, is it? So what we have to do is come down to our softness, and we can drag this up, and you can type in over here if you want 20 and 20, and now you can see it starting to fill in here. And then we can bring our glow up, but if you go too far, it gets really wonky. So we can bring the glow up just a little bit and then bring our blend. If you do the blend down, it will, it'll kind of make it sharper. So we don't want to do that. We're going to bring it right about there. That's good. And you can change your offset as well. So you can move it however you see fit. There we go. Maybe we want to bring the glow back down a little bit now. And these are all ways of kind of managing your shadow. So now if I press Z to refit to screen, it looks pretty good, but it's not in the right place. So we want to go to settings, and here we can move it up and down, or we can click over here and enable this box, which lets us drag it around. So we can put it right there in the middle. How neat is that? So now we have our text. The whole idea was to be consistent, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to save this text and make a copy for our image so that we'll always have a good starting point. You can also use the power bins. I do a video talking about power bins here, but let's go do it just for this project. So in our timeline, we're going to drag our window around a little bit. We want to move our image over here. We're going to hold Alt and click on our clip and drag it over, and now we have a duplicate. So now if you want to come in here, you can change it back. We can come back into text and change it into custom title. There it is. And if you want multiple lines, you could do multiple lines. And if you have multiple lines, maybe the line spacing isn't real good. So we can actually come into line spacing here and get them further and closer, you know? So it's whatever fits your style. Right now, we're going to leave that just regular old 1.0 and get rid of the extra line. We don't need it, but we're working on this one, right? So this one is good to go. So now, if we like the way everything's laid out, maybe I want to move it over a little bit. There, that's good. We like it the way it is. We can press File, Export, Current frame is still, and then it'll give you a default name. You can change it if you like, and you can click Export. Now you have a thumbnail for a YouTube video, and you created it in Resolve. But John, this is so simple. Why would I do it? Well, it's repeatable. You can just add new images right in here and get thumbnails done lickety-split, right? But there's something I do for most of my videos where I take a screen grab and I blur the background and add a little bit of color. So let's go do that now. So I'm going to click in a new space, and we're going to Alt drag our default title over once again. And then we're going to go back to our media pool. We're going to drag in this clip, and we're going to hold Alt, click on the audio, backspace to get rid of it. And let's say this first frame is good, right? That first frame is fine. We're going to break that and then backspace to get rid of that. There we go. And this video is called My Motorcycle Vlog. Okay, that's too many. We want to break that into separate lines and then change our line spacing so that they're closer. And if you really want to get creative, you can come down here to your horizontal anchor. You can click left. It's going to cut off on the right. Same thing on the left. Or you can drag the line right here. I think that looks pretty good. Our window here is open, so we can drag it over. And this clip was shot at 2.7K, which is bigger than what our timeline is. So we're going to come all the way down to retime and scaling, click on scaling and say crop. Now I'm bigger. Now with this video clip selected, I can move it around so that I make room for my text. But you see my text sort of kind of overlaps my helmet a little bit in my face. Well, what we need to do is holding Alt, we'll click and drag our video clip to the top, and we'll get rid of this line. I don't like the distraction, but now our text is gone. This is easily fixed by going into the color tab, and you could either create a power window and draw a curve and do one of these numbers like this, and then right click, add alpha output, and drag a connection, and then you're done. You can clean this up. If I zoom in with my center mouse wheel, you can see it's not real clean. But what I really want to do is delete that power window, leave the alpha output, press Z to resize it the way I wanted it, right? And what I'm going to do is, since I have the studio version, I'm going to use Magic Mask. And I've done a video for that. It's over here. Go watch that and come back if you want to use Magic Mask. If you're a studio user, one of the elite who has spent the $300. Anyway, let's just real quick get this done. There. That should be good. We're going to add a couple of quick lines here. Oops. There we go. And voila. I don't even have to track it because we're only using the first frame, right? So I'll unselect this. And now when I zoom in, you can see that it real cleanly selects around my helmet. Great. That's what I wanted. So we'll come back to the edit page and you can see that the magic mask worked there. We can go click on our first clip and we're going to come to effects and we're going to go down to open effects filters and you see lens blur. We're going to drag and drop it. And that looks okay, but I want this to be about 3. There, that's a little bit better. So now the background is blurred, but I am looking pretty good right there, right? Well, it looks okay. Here's where the color correction comes in. If I click on my top clip, hold Alt and drag up one more time. And if you need more tracks, you can either drag them up and Resolve will create them kind of willy-nilly, or you can right click and say add track. Either way, it gets the job done. But now that I have this clip and I've selected it, I can come up to Composite and I can change this to one of the different modes. So I can do screen if it was a little in shadow, or in this case, either overlay, no, multiply. There we go. Multiply adds a little bit more, I don't know, moodiness or whatever to it, but we're going to drag the opacity down to about there. And then the saturation is pretty good. And again, I can come up to File, Export, current frame is still, click Export, and we're done. But there's a couple of more steps that we want to do to set ourselves up for future success. So let's jump back into Resolve and get that taken care of. Back in our media pool, it's right here. If you don't see it, click on media pool. We want to right click underneath master and select new bin. We're going to call this archive. You can call it whatever you want, but you press enter, it creates it. Now, as soon as I'm done creating this thumbnail, I can grab the things that I created these thumbnails with, the raw footage, and I can drag them up to archive or over to archive, either one, and it gets them out of the way. This keeps this area clean for the current footage or thumbnails that you're working on. And if you end up creating, like if I make a whole bunch of duplicates of this, right? Now, if I want to create a duplicate of this, I can either Control C and Control V to copy and paste down here, or I can click on right here in this area and move my playhead here, hold Alt, press Y, it selects everything past the playhead, move it over, and then hold Alt and click and drag and create a duplicate, and now I'm ready to rock and roll. And you know, we created the banners timeline earlier, so we've opened that up. I actually have downloaded an overlay. You can get them anywhere, I guess, and it's really small. Let's zoom in, and you'll see right here that it's got some lines going on. If I drag that up a track, drag an image in, and make sure it's underneath of our overlay, you can see what's going to be visible on the mobile and desktop versions of YouTube. And to make this clear, we're going to go over to our retime and scaling and change it to crop. And you can see just how much is going to be visible on those two platforms. So to fix this, we're going to zoom out quite a bit and make sure it fills the frame with exactly the thing we want. And then we can go over to thumbnails, Control C to copy our text, and then Control V to paste it in, put that on top, and you'll see where the text is. So we can say channel name here. Very original, I know. And we'll bring the size down, and I'm going to get fancy real quick by changing that up, adding some tabs in there, and then boom, we can change the size a little bit more. And voila, you have a new channel banner that you know is going to be visible on mobile and has something extra for the desktop people. And then we can use the same file export to create a still of this and upload it to YouTube as a channel banner. Pretty cool, right? Now, if you have extra assets like logos or anything else that you really want to convey to your viewer or potential viewer in your thumbnail, you can just drag them into this project and they'll always be there for when you want to create a new thumbnail. So you've got all your assets there and you're ready to rock and roll. And this has saved me quite a bit of time lately, getting that nice blurry background so it's not distracting with me or a subject in the foreground that is in focus, and then changing the color around just a little bit for the subject and having, again, that text. And you can change the size of the text, zoom in and out all you want to make it fit your thumbnail. Pretty cool, right? Hey, if you enjoyed this video, boop the like button, and please consider subscribing after you go watch this video, or now. Just subscribe, watch the videos. I'm trying to be helpful here. I hope you're having a great day. John out.